So let's get playing. Now, the obvious difference with fingerstyle guitar versus other styles of guitar that perhaps you might be used to is clearly the right hand, getting these digits moving and learning what we're going to do with them. Why are we playing the way we're going to play? Now, for me, it all started when I was listening to an artist named Fink, F-I-N-K. Now, he's a friend of mine. In fact, he's my godparents' son, godbrother. Is that a real thing? In fact, a few years ago, we collaborated on a song that ended up on the TV show Better Call Saul, Season 3, Episode something. Listen out for it, okay? Now, Fink has an interesting way of picking the guitar, which I really fell in love with. And it turns out he uses dadgad tuning a lot as well. So I learned a few shapes from listening to his music, and I want to pass those shapes on to you, and then we're going to look at this right hand. First of all, in dadgad tuning, simply fret the second fret of the G string. That is going to raise our G note up to an A, G sharp A. So every single note is either going to be a D or an A. D A, D A, A D. Da da. It's little baby boy tuning, okay? Now what Fink was doing in his picking was a little pattern like this. Okay, a nice basic groove with an alternating bass note and chord using the same kind of techniques that we spoke about earlier, okay? Notice how my pinky is keeping that little mute, okay? Let me explain that in a little bit more detail. We're starting with a muted thumb there. As you can see, my hand is leaning up against the bridge here to create what's called palm muting. I'm sure you're familiar with it, okay? Just like that, okay? Once you're comfortable with that, the other three fingers are going to be picking three strings. In this case, I'm doing the D string, G string, and now A string. We'll call it the second string so we avoid some confusion there, okay? You could do the top three strings. Any sets of three strings. But anyway, after this, as it opens up a little bit, we're going to just have the hand itself hit the string here, okay? Now what I'm doing is bringing the sort of side of my hand to create a little rhythmic beat around this area, whilst at the same time the side of my thumb knuckle is connecting with the bottom string just here, okay? Just practice that for a minute. Okay? Then the fingers and thumb are going to start alternating into this little kaku kaku kaku, this little alternating pattern, much like a drummer riffing off the snare drum. Do do ka do ka do ka do ka, right? Again, with an open thumb there as a nice little accent before we bring in that mute again. 1, 3, 4. 1. I'll slow it down. Watch the left hand now as we go to 3 and 5. Right? 3, 5. I'm just messing around. Just by messing around with that pattern and freewheeling around the neck, I was able to come up with some quite interesting kind of grooves. Again, very university, very let's get high in our dorm room, man kind of vibe, okay? But what playing around like that did was get this hand nice and strong and nice and used to this kind of alternating pattern, okay? It's one of the things which gave me strength to play these more complex arrangements, okay? So let me just go a little bit deeper into those specific shapes. I gave you this chord, which is actually a D5 chord, a D power chord, just Ds and As. The full shape here can be played actually with 3 fingers on those bottom 3 strings. 2 strings open on the top. Same shape moved up 2 more frets. Okay? Just try playing around with those shapes. Okay? And then experiment with those picking patterns. You could do it in different time signatures, different patterns. Just experiment, you know. You'll come up with some interesting ideas, and by being creative with it, just by me giving you that framework to be creative with, you will naturally become very fluid with these fingers, okay? So that's the first thing I want you to try.